The Lions pulled off, in my opinion, one of the most impressive comebacks I've ever seen. So I know that it's the Bears. I know that they turned the ball over like a million times. I know. But the fact that they won that game, because that is a game to me that the same old Lions do not win. That is a game where I've seen it time and time again. Lions at home, a team that they're supposed to be way better than, no chance. Nobody's betting on them. Everybody, you look at the picks across all the broadcasts. Nobody's picking the Bears. And then, of course, that is the kind of game that the Lions would lose. But it seemed that way for the first 58 minutes of the game. And then the final 2 minutes, it was just like Jared Goff was like, you know what? Okay, guys, I was just messing around. I'm actually good at football. And he, despite having a bad game, look, his bad game is like Justin Fields' good game, as far as I'm concerned. So Justin Fields, he accounted for nearly 200 yards or over 200 yards of the Bears offense, but I still think he stinks, okay? I know there were some people, he had a good game. Okay, passing, he threw for 169 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, yeah, I suppose you're going to say, well, he ran for 104 yards. Well, he's running for his life. I mean, like nobody is open, and he's got a noodle arm. He can't. And he did have that one deep shot to DJ Moore, but whatever, broken clock and all that. Justin Fields, look, when the Bears needed him most, in those last 2 possessions, he was overthrowing guys. He was, to be fair, the play calling there was bad because they were just running the ball. And why any team attempts to run the ball on the Lions is baffling to me. You saw it last week with the Chargers. They really didn't run the ball that much against us, and they put up 30 points. I don't know why teams are trying to run the ball on us. You can't run the ball on this defense. But the other thing I wanted to point out about this game was it's one of those games where both teams were not playing well. Obviously, the Bears ended up blowing it. And obviously, the Lions put themselves in a situation where they had to climb back the whole game because they were behind. I want to say they were up at the half, but they were behind most of that game. And it was turnovers. It was bad penalties. It was just not great all around. It's just not good. I mean, they were booing Jared Goff. The thing is, though, some people are getting upset. They're like, no, we shouldn't boo him. It's like, I don't know. I kind of wanted to boo him. He threw 4 interceptions. It was his 3rd interception or something, and it was bad. But the thing about it is, I don't know if something is brewing in Jared Goff. He's all of a sudden like Tom Brady when it comes to game-winning drives. It's he can play the worst game ever. And it can be just so ugly, and you're just geez, he's missing guys, he's overthrowing guys, he's turning the ball over, oh my gosh. And then it's final 5 minutes, and he's like prime Brady. He just drives down the field. It was one of those things, when I was watching the game, there was a part of me that was it was the 2 wolves, right? The one wolf inside of me was, okay, it's a fake comeback. I'm going to have to do an angry show on Tuesday because the Lions got themselves in a hole, and then they did this phony comeback, this comeback, quote unquote, and it's going to keep some of the fans pleased that they seemed like they had the game in some way they had a chance to come back. But no, it's they just did. And the other point that I wanted to make about this is Jameson Williams. Way to show up, son. Way to show up, kid. I mean, look, I'm pleased by what Jameson Williams has shown me the last couple of games. He hasn't dropped the ball in the past 2 games, which is good. And I know that's a low bar, but you know what? He was dropping nearly a pass a game whenever he was getting targeted. And now, I don't know if maybe he's been working at the jugs machine or if Goff is just hitting him with better passes or what it is. He's catching the football. And he only had, he technically had 3 targets. Yeah, he did have 3 targets. It was a deep shot. I don't think he really had much of a chance for that ball. It was good defense. It was good coverage. But 2 for 3. And you got 44 yards and a touchdown. And you got your touchdown in the clutchest moment. Because that is where Jameson Williams is most deadly. It's not about, he's not going to be St. Brown. He's not going to be targeted 11 times. It's just not going to happen. But he will be targeted 3, 4, maybe 5 times a game. And if he makes 3 of those catches, if he's targeted 5 times and he makes three catches, those are going to be big impact catches. Because you see, 2 catches for 44 yards, that means on average, his catches were netting 22 yards. So that, like, he was an impact player. He made an impact in a positive way. And I think it's a matter of he's getting more acclimated. And I saw some articles today, I didn't get a chance to read them, that he's getting more comfortable. They're figuring out the role that he can play on this offense. And it is just a take the top off the defense. It's not about necessarily, throwing at him in the middle of the field or, on these out. It's about him beating the safety and taking a deep shot for a touchdown. And if that's his role, fine by me. And if he enjoys it, if he can go out there and he can block, and he's had some pretty nice blocks this season. If he can go out there, he can block, he can be a decoy, he can open up the middle of the field for guys like Sam Laporta, guys like Josh Reynolds, guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. Then you know what? He's having an impact, not even touching the football at that point. And that to me is like, it has been just since, I'd say at least since that Ravens game, it's basically been positive stuff from Jameson Williams. And he probably could have had an extra touchdown in the season if not for the penalty against the Chargers. He's played, he has slowly gotten better. And I know the drops early on were tough, and maybe it was just a matter of getting used to it and maybe fixing your catch form or whatever it is. Because the thing to me is like, I looked at his catch on the touchdown, and he's kind of like underhanding it. He's kind of doing a body catch with it. And you know what? I know some people don't really like it. To me, I don't care how you do it. Catch the ball. I don't care if you catch it with your fingertips. I don't care if you catch it with your body. I don't care how you catch the ball. Just catch the ball. If you can catch the ball consistently and if you can make an impact, I don't care how you catch it. I really don't. It doesn't matter to me. On top of that, I wanted to point out this is a thing that I realized, and I talked to my dad after the game, and the way the Bears lost this game was the way the Lions used to lose games. I mean, let me just pull up the team stats, right? Like, the Bears ran more total plays, 71-59. They had almost as many total yards. They had a little bit less. They had, I want to see the time of possession. They had the ball for 40 minutes and 24 seconds. 40 minutes. That is, almost the entire game you have the ball. That's 20 minutes roughly that we had the ball. They ran for more yards. Obviously you have the lead. You're going to run for a bunch of yards. They ran for 183 yards. They didn't really get sacked all that much. They won the turnover battle. Lions had 4 turnovers to their 1. They had more first downs, 25-23. It's just like the fact that they lost that game is the way that the Lions would lose games. Like, I don't know. I don't know if people who are not Lions fans will understand that. Like, go back and look at some of the games the Lions have lost, and or just like bigger games. You think of the 2014 wild card, or most games in the 2011 season where they play incredible. Or there was, I believe it was 2011 or maybe 2012, they played the Tennessee Titans, and the game was like a total shootout. Essentially, there's no defense played, and they found a way to lose. Like, they had like a crazy like late game comeback, and this was that kind of game where the Bears, they scored 10 unanswered points in the third quarter. 10 unanswered points. They scored no touchdowns in the fourth quarter. The Lions scored 2, including a 2-point conversion. It's just one of those things where it's almost kind of euphoric, but you sort of feel bad because, you think about it, and let's assume the Lions win a Super Bowl relatively soon, at least as soon as this year, which I certainly think they could win the Super Bowl this year. What really is all that different between the Lions and the Bears? The Bears made a Super Bowl relatively recently. In my lifetime, they made a Super Bowl, but they didn't win. Outside of their championship in '85, they're largely bad. They're a team that has never had a quarterback. They're a team that has had great Hall of Fame players. They've had, a caliber of talent where you're like, man, how are they going to fail? And it's bad ownership. It's bad coaches. It's bad players. It's bad drafting. It's something. And that sort of describes the Lions to me. Like, and I get it too. I think you could do this sort of analogy. I think the Lions ultimately have been the worst team historically, obviously, given the lack of Super Bowl appearance, let alone multiple Super Bowl appearances for the Bears, including a win. But at the same time, it's one of those things where the more you think about it, and the more things start to turn, the more the Lions look really good. Like, as in best starting record in 60 years. The more these other teams who have had the time, who know what it's like to get up, right? It's one of the reasons, this is going to be a slight tangent, but it's one of the reasons I would get on teams like the Pistons or the Tigers, because it's not like they've never figured it out, right? Historically, both those teams have figured out how to win. And the Bears have won a championship, at least one, right? So it's not like this team has no history, and it's just like trying to, win as an expansion team. It's like but the more you think about it, it's like, hey, it's expansion teams have had more recent success than the Bears. The Panthers made the Super Bowl more recently than the Bears. Panthers, I think, have made at least as many Super Bowls as the Bears. Like, it's one of those things where I don't want to say I don't particularly believe in any sort of sports curses or anything like that. I think they're kind of fun, but ultimately I think they're just things that fans talk about as a way to rationalize why a team is so bad, when usually it's bad ownership, bad GM, bad coaching, bad players, some combination of those. I didn't mean to just burst everybody's bubble about that, but it's like the other thing it's like former player having the game-winning touchdown against you. A player you let walk in free agency just lost you the game, essentially. And dropped interceptions that could have changed the game. And, your quarterback coming back fresh and healthy. You finally have your starting quarterback. And the other thing that boggles my mind was at the end of that game, when Jahmyr Gibbs ran and got the ball to the 1, and the Lions didn't have any timeouts. So they were either going to run another play really quick, or they were going to spike the ball. And Matt Eberflus calls a timeout. And I'm like, thanks, Matt. Like, but what is I have no idea. I was thinking about this on Monday. I was like, okay, what was he like? Maybe he was thinking, obviously he was thinking he was going to get the ball back. But at the same time, if that was your thought, and if you thought you were going to get the ball back, then why weren't you using the timeouts before? Why weren't you stopping the clock so that you might have had, a minute 30 left to go by the time we would score, as opposed to 40 seconds? Look, it's I know Bears fans are not big fans of Mr. Eberflus's job, but unfortunately, the way it usually works in the NFL is you're going to get at least 3 years. So he's probably sticking around, but he'll have that'll be his final year if he doesn't figure it out. And man, that was, to me, I when that happened, I was like, oh, well, thanks. Like, you allowed us essentially a free timeout, and it gave us the chance to just be like, okay, well, we can just run the ball now because we don't have to worry about, the clock, because you just stopped it. And now that we're at the 1, we know it's David Montgomery is basically automatic from the 1 with our O-line. So shout out Matt Eberflus for being the MVP. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was Lion-esque, I guess. But yeah. So obviously this Thursday, though, at this point, it's like we have one more day. I don't want to see any injuries. You know what? Tomorrow's practice, don't even do contact. I don't know. No pad practice. I don't know what you got to do. I feel like your body is probably still, sore from this game. So I don't know what you need to do. But whatever it takes, I don't want to see anybody on the injury report. I hope Jonah Jackson is ready for Thursday. That would be a huge addition. Obviously, our O-line is still good without him, but it is so good with him. I mean, you look at the Chargers game. I mean, we were running all over them, and they were making no impact as far as sacks were going. But that's the only thing. I just need Jonah Jackson. Please, Jonah. Just, I don't know. Give him a peg leg, or I don't even know what his injury is. Just give him something. It's just, oh man. The rare times that we get to see our O-line healthy, it's like, there's going to be an offensive masterclass. That's all I'll say about that. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.